Okay, this will be part 13 of the series, and we're going to discuss now Rachel's grave, Bethlehem, Rachel's grave and Bethlehem, and Hebron, the grave of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's all tied in together. So we're going to start with the fact that everybody thinks that Rachel's buried in Bethlehem in the Shomron. Firstly, we already discussed how that's the land of Egypt, so that's not even a possibility. But another important point is that there was no Bethlehem in the tribe of Judah during the time of Joshua. If you go through the book of Joshua, from Joshua chapter 15 to Joshua chapter 19, it lists every single city in the land of Israel. Every single city is listed there in those four chapters. Now, Bethlehem is listed as a city of the tribe of Zebulun. So it was never in Judah. Okay? And not only that, if you actually pay close attention, to the story when Rachel died, they were in Bethel, which is the Meron area, and they were worshiping God. And then Jacob had to meet his brother Edom in the Lower Galilee. So he was coming from Meron down to the Lower Galilee through a river in Israel today called Nachal Amud, which in my book I associated it with the Pishon River, the first river that comes from the Garden of Eden. And they were coming down Nachal Amud, and Rachel died on the way, and he set up a stone pillar on the grave. Now, the name Nachal Amud literally means the river of the pillar. What a crazy coincidence. The river of the pillar, and that's where supposedly Jacob was coming down to meet Edom in the Lower Galilee. It's a very famous stone pillar. It looks like a human being, and it can be found in Nachal Amud between Meron and Sfat. In other words, between Shechem and Hebron, Jerusalem. And above this, okay, so let's talk about Bethlehem. It doesn't say that she's buried in Bethlehem. It actually doesn't say that. It says she was buried on the way to Bethlehem. Now, Zebulun was obviously north of the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Joseph. You can read about this in the book of Joshua. South of Naphtali. And Nachal Amud is essentially the way to Bethlehem. It's called, that was the name of the river in those days, the way to Bethlehem. And the name Bethlehem literally means house of bread. Okay? When Adam was kicked out of the Garden of Eden in Meron, he was sent to the east to make bread. He didn't have to make bread in the Garden of Eden. He was probably eating manna. He was eating the fruits of the trees. He was on a very high level. And because of the curse of Adam in the Garden of Eden, he had to start making bread and working for his food. And so the place was called Bethlehem. And I've located it basically in the desert of Sinai, where they received the Torah. That's where the tribes were. And today it's called the Dalton region, between Tzfat and Meron. Kadita, all those places around Kadita, Dalton, Kadita, that's basically Bethlehem. And Nachal Amud leads exactly to there. So that's my theory about Rachel's grave and where Bethlehem is, and why it was called Bethlehem. And now I want to talk about the cave that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are buried in. Now, remember, he was in Hebron when Sarah died, and he needed a burial place. And we already discussed that Hebron is the the southern part of the city of Tzfat. I forgot the name now. It's gone out of my head. But it's opposite Chukuk. It's opposite Chukuk. Starts with a K. Doesn't matter. I forgot the name. It's okay. The point is, he was in Hebron, and this stone pillar of Rachel is found precisely between Chukuk and Tzfat in Nachal Amud. And on top of this stone pillar, you find two caves. Two caves. One for the males and one for the females. And it's my theory that this is the cave of Machpelah, where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are buried. And the reason Jacob built a pillar on Rachel's grave is not because, not only so we know where Rachel's grave is, because she was a very significant figure, obviously, the wife of Jacob, the main wife, the one that he truly loved and wanted to marry, and of course the tribe of Joseph and the Levites came from Rachel. So she's a very important figure, just like Sarah. And the pillar, the stone pillar, serves two purposes: to find the grave of Rachel, and also the cave of Machpelah, which is directly above this stone pillar. So it all makes sense, and they're all buried in the Pishon River, which comes from the Garden of Eden. It all goes back to Eden. So yeah, that was very important to discuss all this. Have a good day.